Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability questions concerning this watch. Today, we're discussing a model originally launched back in 2012 by independent watchmaker Ludovic Ballouard. The example you see in my hand was retailed in 2021. So this is the Half Time, the second model produced by Ballouard out of his eponymous manufacturer. The first was the Upside Down. The Half Time is remarkably complex in comparison to its predecessor, featuring both a retrograde and a jump hour, but a jump hour of a character that you will not have seen before unless you're familiar with the model. This example, 41 millimeters in platinum. It's available in several different models, but the dial, although it may appear gray on camera, is described by Ballouard as green gold, and it does have a distinctly green tint when viewed in person. So 41 millimeters in diameter. It's quite svelte at 10.4 millimeters thick. You can see the case profile very similar to the Upside Down. So 10.4 thick and then 47.2 from lug tip to lug tip. It's got a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. And as with the Upside Down, it features a concave case profile that will allow you to view yourself upside down when you view yourself in it. Now, it's a very simple case, but it's been complicated by the use of hand engraving, and we'll investigate that in a moment. I think you're just sort of wondering how this works, so let's jump straight to the chase. You see that the only hour that is fully assembled and correctly aligned is the current hour. At the bottom, we have retrograding minutes. All of this is consistent with Ballouard's philosophy of life that only the present moment matters, which is why only one of the numerals is fully assembled. Now below that, you can see that we have a combination of hand-finished metal elements on the dial, individual numbering, frosting, a little bit of gilding, hand engraving, and then we turn it all over and there is an extraordinary Ludovic Ballouard Series 2 movement. But we're not there yet. Let's throw it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference. Despite not being a small dress watch, it isn't broad across the wrist. 47.2 is hardly broad for a watch that measures 41 in diameter, and 10.4 is quite thin, so it will fit underneath the cuff. And I can recommend this watch for a wrist as small as 15 centimeters circumference. My wrist, for example, is 16. It's got a pleasing weight to it. Platinum always does, so if you're of the opinion that an expensive watch should feel its price, this is exactly what you're going to want. Taking a look at the strap, you can see that it is a large rectangular scale and genuine alligator leather. I know sometimes for shipping across our different branches from continent to continent, we use fake alligator because of treaties. Well, this is the real deal. Large rectangular and symmetrical scale. An expensive cut of the beast. Semi-gloss black, you can see it has a folded edge, a monotone stitch, a curved spring bar because the lugs are drilled very close to the case. So to avoid any impediment to the motion, a curved spring bar is used. On the underside, you can see calfskin, no crimping, no gouging. A Jean Rousseau, hand-sewn, hand-cut, Parisian-made strap. JR is the OEM supplier to a lot of independent brands, including, among others, FP Journe and De Bethune. We have a buckle here with Ballouard's logo on it, and then you can see it features a combination of satination and media blast, and something you'll find recurring on the watch, engraving. Now take a good look at that, and take a good look at the engraving of the initial on the crown, as well as the engravings on the case back. These are all done freehand. So although the quality of the engraving is very, very high, there is a subtly beautiful imperfection because these are not done with a lathe, or a drill of any kind. So no lasers, no lathes, no drills, and each one individually engraved. Don't worry about that. That's just a little bit of glue from before. So engraving, the only part really not engraved by the man himself, you can see some of the hallmarks down at the bottom. So that is important to note because everything on this watch, to the extent possible, is made or finished by Ballouard. Underneath, we have a movement that is called the B02, not to be confused with anything made by Breitling, although its core is a Peso 7001, but the Peso is a 23.3 millimeter movement, and this movement is 35 millimeters. Ballouard does not use pieces from the Peso. He cuts them, decorates them, and fits them himself. This is an all in-house made movement. But he uses the basic train of the manual wind Peso. He uses its barrel to escapement geometries. Now, aside from that, the watch has a 36-hour power reserve, a 3 hertz beat rate, the jump hour, and the retrograde. And then you can see the decoration is extravagant. Now, it's similar in some ways to the upside down, but it's a lot more elaborate. We still have the jumper spring, and then a series of linkages related to the swapping of the time displays. You can see at the base we've got the mechanism that underpins the retrograde, and then circumferentially the component that takes this from a 23.3 millimeter to 35 millimeter movement. All of this outlying mechanism that shifts the discs displaying the time and also operates the retrograde. So you've got quite a bit of apparatus here. And I know you want to see this again, so I'm just going to operate it several times in succession so you can fully appreciate how this works. The way it works is by a series of mechanisms immensely more complex than what Ballouard used on his upside down. You can see that what you're actually looking at on the dial side is part of the movement, complete with assembly screws. On the reverse, you can see the decoration includes several different sizes of engine-turned perlage. You can see all the steel parts have been satinated on their tops and beveled on their edge, and the same goes for all the brass parts of the movement, which are rhodium-plated, beveled, engine-turned, in some cases satinated. We have a great deal of detailing on the jumper mechanism itself, which you can see right down to the snail cam is intricately decorated. Then we have the use of a KIF-style shock protection spring, which I always love to see. It's sort of a more boutique horology approach than what you'd find on something with Inca block, although make no mistake, they both work well. The watch is 30 meters water resistant, so, don't take it swimming, because these are hard to come by. Ballouard makes somewhere between a dozen and 2 dozen of these a year. He's a small operator. He's mostly a one-horse shop, although he has a few assistants. This is not F. Pigeon making 1,000 watches a year with 12 or more watchmakers. This is Ballouard himself building these things. So if you find that this intrigues you and his vision of time in the present, living for the moment, matches your life philosophy, reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.